for this pre-Blitz consumer engagement new income call. We're also thrilled that it is September 1st, which means we are over a month ahead of last year's pace in getting the first Blitz underway. So this short call will tackle some sales aspects, a reminder of what tools are available, as well as the numbers from last year's Blitz and a target to shoot for with the 2 hours of calling that will follow the short conversation. But I've enlisted the assistance of a true friend of MDAs and a champion to help put us all in the mindset of goal achievement and success. And so with that, I want to introduce you to Rob Curry. Rob is co-owner of the Alamitos Group, which is a 19-location Jiffy Lube franchise. And Rob has owned Jiffy Lubes for 20 years now. And obviously, being a Jiffy Lube owner, he's had exposure to MDA, and like I said, has become a true friend of the association, participating in the Muscle Up coupon books, which is still going on now, as well as other ancillary fundraisers, and has attended camp. And you can see Rob, he's on the left side of the picture, and his son, Bobby, is on his right. But most recently, Rob has added another achievement to his successes in the sales industry by summiting the tallest peak in Africa, which is Mount Kilimanjaro. And we felt that Rob would be a great person to have join us today and share some of the aspects behind his successful climb, his processes, his key to successes, and how they also are part of his day job work in running a successful business. So with that, I will turn things over to Rob and have him share some thoughts with you.
Todd, thank you, and thank you for inviting me today. I'm glad to be here, and talking about our trip. And the mountain is what we did and what we accomplished, but it was really the symbol that helped us to keep progressing and working toward getting that goal. It started off with our group trying to think out of the box. We've supported the MDA for a number of years, and over the last 3 or 4 years, on a national basis, we've raised over $3 million for the MDA. And we've done that through selling coupon books at stores, supporting summer camps and things like that. This year, I wanted to do something different and something unique. And so it really started off with that dream and the desire to do something different. For us, it was the mountain, and we started a goal of raising money for every meter over sea level that we climbed. But really, the mountain was the end, and that was finalizing this journey we had. But it really started about 9 or 10 months before, in the fall of 2014, and that's when my son and I sat down to start planning what we were going to do on this trip on the mountain. We knew that our goal was achievable, and we really sat down and made it a SMART goal. And for us, a SMART goal was just an acronym, being S for being a very specific goal, being M for measurable, A, something that was attainable, people had done it before, R is relevant, raising money and how we could relate that to the MDA, and then time-bound, what were our goals? And we broke it down into individual pieces on a month-to-month basis. They say, how do you eat an elephant? Well, it's one bite at a time. So we worked that goal backwards, and we took a look at that. And our goal had a lot to do with physical training, running, diet, and things like that to make sure that we were in good shape. My son had the advantage. He was 30 years younger than me, a high school football player and tennis player, and I had the disadvantage, being 30 years older, 20 to 25 pounds overweight, and really had worked out but needed to get back into it. So after about 2-3 months of working our plan, I realized that I had some serious problems and I wasn't going to make my goal, that I was afraid. My biggest fear was getting on the mountain and having my 18-year-old son rescue me and carry me down. from the top of that mountain. So I had to rethink it. And a failure in this case was one of my best motivators, because from that failure and realizing that I wasn't going to make it, I had to rework my plan. And I think that's important, is when we visualize success, that's the easy part. But we also have to visualize failure, what the failure means to us. And if we are going to fail, what is going to cause us to fail? And so at that point, I changed my plan. I started working out more. I changed my diet even more than I had. And I tracked that on a daily, weekly, monthly basis with a form that we used that was called Goals and Controls. So we worked our plan and went through it, and got to the mountain, and we're successful. So for us, it wasn't the success, but it was the failure that I was able to learn from it and drive that process.
Excellent. Thank you, Rob. And you know, while you were in the midst of training, you know, you shared that you applied that goals and controls aspect that you utilize in your with the business to your training for the Kilimanjaro climb. Are there other elements that you brought forth, you know, from your 2 decades of running a successful business to the actual climb itself?
You know, I think it was perseverance. We started off with one store, my brother-in-law and I did 20 years ago, and are at 19 stores today. And it's the perseverance is that if we have a setback, is the strength to get back up and keep doing it again. So that was the thing that kept me going. You know, another thing that we've talked about before, Todd, was, you know, personal accountability. And one, I can only hold myself and motivate myself so much. But what I did, and it was inadvertently, every 2 weeks we have a new training class for our company, new employees that I greet, and I talk to them about goal setting and dream setting and that type of thing. And I talked to them about the trip that I was about to do with my son and the goals that I had with losing weight, my body fat percentages and goals that I had. And really what this did was over a 9-10 month process, I had talked to probably 300 to 400 people about this. So, you know, not only did I have the embarrassment that if I failed, my son would have to rescue me, but I also had the commitment that I made to all these other people. So at that point, that helped me going, kept me going when maybe my, you know, self-motivation was not as strong as it should be. So that helped me a lot.
Absolutely. And many times, Robin, you shared this with me previously, that, you know, once you got to that next benchmark, you were able to see, you know, further. You're able to see, you know, where you wanted to go as a next step. So I'm curious, and I'm sure a lot of the people on the phone today are curious as well. What's the next peak you see, or what's that next challenge ahead of you now that you've reached the Kilimanjaro summit?
You know, I have a saying, Todd, that I like to use is don't confuse your first goal with your final destination. So if you have a success, in this case, we see the mountain as a success, we want to go down and set another goal to keep us going, because the byproduct was great. It got me in great shape. I lost the 25 pounds I needed to. I'm staying in shape, and I see this going further in the future. So our next goal is Mount Elbrus in Russia. And so we're setting that for about the next 12 to 18 months that is going to keep us going. One, it's going to help my son. He's starting college and probably keeping him in shape. And it definitely is motivating me to get up every morning and to continue my workout regimen.
That's great. And do you also have a similar next step with the business as well? Do you see that next, you know, benchmark that you want to reach?
We do. We're always setting those goals. So we have another store that we're building right now. So that will be our 20th store. And then we have further acquisitions planned beyond that. So you know, every month we're sitting down and setting those goals and what's the next step.
Well, and that 20th location will be good news to our Orange County and Los Angeles teams, because I did not mention this, but Rob is joining us, you know, from the other coast. So he got up extremely early to be a part of these calls, and we can't thank you enough, Rob, for sharing your experiences. And thank you for, here's the picture here, thank you for, you know, bringing MDA along with you on this climb. and Rob's efforts raised over I think $6,200 in addition to all of the fundraising that he's been doing through the Muscle Up efforts and other initiatives. So that's great, Rob. And I just want to raise up some of the things that you alluded to. Setting that dream and setting the vision. And the fact that each person on the phone or each of the teams that are represented on the phone have a target or a goal, not only for consumer engagement overall that they've put into their business plans, but also for the Blitz today. And hopefully you, like Rob, are breaking down that overall goal into the measurable milestone for today, number of meetings, and is it more meetings than was accomplished on that last Blitz that was held? What did the office do last year, and where can it go this year? And overcoming that fear. I mean, picking up the phone for the first time can many times feel like a 19,000-foot high mountain, but breaking it down and figuring out, hey, I want to get to that first conversation with the decision maker. And Rob, I also love how you dove into learning from the lessons. So attacking problems from different angles. If the first call didn't go well on the Blitz, what did you learn from that, and what can be applied when you pick up the phone and dial again? And finding your pace. You wanted to keep up, Rob, with your son as far as he set the pace, and you wanted to make sure that you kept up. And it wasn't going to be climbing, the highest peak in the world first. It was an achievable, but still a stretch goal in summiting Kilimanjaro. So all good stuff, and leads me to the numbers to exceed here. There are 4,701 potential locations that were recruited or actually equated to meetings that were secured last year. And so a stretch goal would be to add 470 to that for a total Blitz target of 5,171. And for the Central Division overall, 93 meetings were set last year for a total of 1,674 meetings. And quite a few teams who came out strong with the Blitz ended up with really strong revenue so far projected for this fiscal year. So St. Louis, Dallas, Fort Worth, Kansas City, you're some of the leaders from last year going into this Blitz. So, that's the pace is eclipsing what was done in the previous year. And there are some standards to look at as far as recruitment. It is about quantity of meetings, but it's also about the quality of them and working smarter once you get those meetings secured. So you really want to shoot for those chains that have the potential to raise at least $5,000 each, because that is worth the investment of the human resources, so having the meeting and servicing the account, as well as the fiscal resources of the kits and things like that. So we just want to provide some guidelines as the effort begins in approximately 1 minute. But we have a lot of tools available. So you can review these on the Resource Center, some tools to help with that first call, whether it's the scripts, the tips from the past from a lot of the peers, overcoming objections, and then going into the meeting, there's several proposals and call sheets to reference. And then after the Blitz, if you want to just get some refreshers on some details regarding the programs, there are some training tools for that as well. So we're looking forward to everyone having a lot of successes with their calls, and just like Rob mentioned, as far as personal accountability and being public, please share your successes, celebrate with your team members, but keep calling, because in the 2 hours, trying to get as many quality meetings as possible, but the more public that we are as far as sharing, the better. And then once the Blitz is over, make sure you fill out a new meeting announcement form for each new meeting that was set. But we're thrilled that we're getting started, and we wish you all the best in securing a ton of meetings. Thank you again, Rob, for joining us on the call, and go for it, teams.